There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. We are your guides to the other side. Don't worry, Tim. Not the corona, just old man throat.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Not that at all.
Okay.
Not corona. Dun 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 dun. Not corona. Just so people know.
That may become,
I've been traveling a lot, Tim.
I was going to say that may become the national anthem pretty soon.
I hope so. Yeah, not corona. That's what we all have to chime in and say out there.
Yeah.
Listen, we've got a lot of supernatural news to get to. We've got some of your stories to cover. We want to hear your stories. 651-300-4977. That's the phone number to call us on our Voices from Beyond voicemail. You can call and just leave us a happy little message. We won't play those on air. But, if you just wanted to say, hi, Dave, hi, Tim, love you guys. Tim, we met about 9 months ago. Well, those kind of calls you can make, right, to 651-300-4977. And you can leave those messages, or more importantly, leave us your paranormal experiences, whatever kind they may be. Have you had a Bigfoot encounter? An alien abduction? Have you come face to face with a demon that you were not married to? How about this? What if you were visited by a ghost in your dreams, or you've had precognitive dreams? We want to know all of your stories. Funny, happy, scary, weird, bizarre, Ouija board stories. We want to hear them. 651-300-4977. That's the number that you can call and get to our Voices from Beyond voicemail. Tim, I have a quick message to start today's program.
Sure.
All right. I want to thank everybody, again, for all the love and support I've received over the last couple of weeks here regarding the big news of finding my biological father and getting a chance to meet two of my sisters. We had such a remarkable time. It was really great. I couldn't have asked for more. It would have been nice to meet all my siblings, and I still have some I've got to bounce around and get a chance to meet out in the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. So I'm hoping to do that sometime in the next 30 to 40 days. But I got to be honest, I was mostly directed to go out and meet my dad, to get that opportunity to close that final door, that one aspect of my life that's always been left swinging back and forth in the breeze, like an old Western town, Tim. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to meet my dad. It was great. And I want to tell you, I shared a lot online and on my Facebook page. And if you don't follow me, screw you. I don't need you anyway. But if you do follow me, you've been getting. I'm just kidding. I do need you. Please call me. I'm so codependent, Tim. It's sad. Go to my Facebook page. You can keep up with all of my activities and weird stuff and family stories and paranormal stories and everything. But here was a really interesting piece to me. Okay. Mm-hmm. My dad is 73 years old. All right. And, great guy, very, for all he's been through and all he's battled. He's got a great wit about him and personality. Mm-hmm. And I get in the car, he picks me up from the airport. This is the one part of the story I left out that really it was mine for a little bit, and I just wanted to revel in it. But I know how important signs can be. Mm-hmm. And I know our listeners love signs, right? Mm-hmm. So I get into the car, and my dad hands me a card. He got me a very nice card welcoming me to the family, which was really sweet, right? Mm-hmm. As we take off on our journey to his house, I glance down in the door of the passenger door in that little pocket that's on the side.
Yeah.
And there's only one CD there, Tim. One lonely CD box. And the name of it jumps out at me. And I reach down and I lift it up, and it's Born in the USA.
Aw.
And I open it up and the CD's not in there. And I look at my dad and he goes, "Oh, did you want to listen? I thought maybe you'd just like to talk." And he turns on the radio and Dancing in the Dark is playing. So you talk about messages. You talk about probabilities and possibilities. That's pretty amazing. Bruce has been a big part of my life throughout my life. And his music, I believe, has helped save me and keep me on my path when I've been at my darkest moments and at some of my best moments. And it was just really great. I mean, here my dad happens to be a Boss fan with an old beat-up copy of Born in the USA tucked in his door. And he had the CD in, and it just happened to be in the middle of Dancing in the Dark. So to me, that was beautiful. For those of you that have followed the show and my story, you'd know why that was so impactful. For those of you that don't, time to start digging into the old episodes and listening so that you don't miss it. Find out for yourself, or again, keep following my Facebook page, because I share a lot of these cool stories and intricate stories that have to do with real life, the supernatural, and how they blend together. But it was just another example of strange synchronicities and signs, at least in my opinion. I don't know. How would you read that?
I think that's pretty darn ironic, that's for sure. If it's not a sign, then I don't know what it is. It's
right. Now, I know there's going to be some jaded people out there that are going to say, "Oh, I'm sure your dad read through all your Facebook posts and knows your affinity." And here's the deal. Even if he did, that he had that CD in and that's a song that he was listening to, was pretty cool. So either way, I take that as a good sign. I think toward a bright future.
It's pretty cool that even with all that distance between the two of you and not knowing each other, that you still share that love of that same artist. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a genetic disposition for the Boss.
Yes. Yeah. If there ever was one, I guess. It's true. It's a part of me. It's a part of him. It's a part of you. Cuckoo-ca-choo. That's it. All right. And then to follow up, I mean, last Sunday, I had a pretty big revelation day. And I wasn't sure. Our listeners have always been great and supportive about me being open regarding our high strangeness. Mm-hmm. And the whole episode was really kind of my story last week. And an interesting journey that I took. Mm-hmm. Facing serpents and spirits and the afterworld and facing death. And I can honestly say that in 52 years of life, and especially the last 42 of them, well, I guess even more than that, 50, 47, whatever. Tim, math sucks. Most of my life, since about the age of 5, been terrified of death. I have no fear of death. I have a healthy respect of death. I'm not in any need to get there quickly, but the fear of death has subsided. And many people have asked, has it gone away as the days have gotten further? I think I've seen more clarity and more beauty in things, and I've taken more time to myself and to my world, and I've enjoyed it a lot more. So I stick by my journey. If you didn't get a chance to listen to last weekend's episode, please give it a listen. Many listeners have written to me telling me that they listened merely because of their fascination and love for you and I, Tim. Mm-hmm. And that the topic itself was not one that necessarily resonated with them, but they were many of them that have written in have told me how blown away they were by the episode in total, and that they went in with one set of expectations and were blown away by what happened to them. So that makes my heart feel good that people got something. I wasn't sure how to be received. You go in that deep and you share a very weird aspect of your world. I wasn't sure, but there we go. It's all good.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm excited. I'm jazzed and excited. So people want to know my journey as it continues. Is it a long-term effect? It is. I still recommend it for everybody. I honestly believe that it would be something that would be life changing and affirming for anyone. And my journey was really powerful, and I'd love for you guys to listen to it. And if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. Give me some feedback. What do you think? Have you had your own journey? You can email me and tell me about that as well. So, Tim, we have a question to begin today's episode.
Sure.
She hasn't. There was no clear statement if I could give a name. So because of the topic itself, I'm going to keep the name out of it.
Right.
But she writes, you seem like someone who would know. How do you know a psychic is a fraud? I've had a really bad life. Only good in it is my kids. She told me that someone gave a picture of me to a witch and put a curse on me. And for just $200 for these candles, she can clear the curse. My gut says she's a fake, but all the bad in my life makes me wonder. Here was my advice. I said, that's BS. Anytime claims like that and a monetary value are ascribed to it, I got to call BS. And in my opinion, folks, luck is what we make of it. The more you focus on bad luck, the more you do draw to yourself. Like attracts like. So I firmly believe, and especially after my journey last week, change your mindset. What seems like bad luck, turn it around and ask, great, what can I learn from all this? Because that's what all successful people do. You're not defined by those bad things and those tragic moments in your life, folks. You're defined by how you stand back up, dust yourself off, and move forward. Now, you can all send me $200 and I'll burn a candle for you anyway, but I'll give you that piece of advice for free. Why? Because I love you. But that's it. There's good mediums, there's good psychics out there, but the minute they start, a gypsy curse has been placed on you, which is, that's shenanigans. Shenanigans, I cry.
I'm sure you'd find out the minute you plunk down that $200, there'd be something else that would require you to plunk down more money, and it just would continue and continue and continue.
Right.
And
it becomes a sand trap is what they call it.
Yeah.
And they'll remove that evil and only realize that there was something bigger and meaner standing behind it.
Yeah. So, anytime you're asked to plunk down a significant amount of money to get rid of a curse or something like that, there's generally something fishy that's up. That's a big red herring.
Yes, very much so. Today's episode is unofficially brought to you by my sister's company, Snarky Tea. Crush 2020. Start the year on the right foot and get your first starter kit with Snarky Tea. I'm putting it out there, Tim. As a matter of fact, if you go to their website, I think you get like 15% off of your first order. But I'm a believer, not just because I'm a brother. I'm a believer because I tried the tea. I've been using it on the road. My Wake the F Up and Calm the F Down have been instrumental for me when I've been out on the road trying to get rest after a long night of investigating and researching and trying to get my energy up.
Right.
So again, I'm down to just drinking tea without sugars or creams in it and black coffee and water while I'm doing this fast. And the tea's been a big help for me. So you can also detox your gut. You can cleanse. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. They got all kinds of stuff for you to check out over there and reach out. You can get 15% off your first order, free shipping on orders over $75. Go check it out because it's the right thing to do. You're supporting your buddy Dave's little sister and her 3 children and the poor puppies that they have in the kittens, Tim. And don't forget about, I don't know, whatever other tragic things I can try to make sound like aren't tragic because she's got a pretty damn good life. But go check it out. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. This seems like it'd be right up our listeners' alley, snarkytea.com. All right, Timothy, where shall we go next in the world of supernatural news?
Heading out to the world of Hollywood via the Skinwalker Ranch, Dave. History gains unprecedented access to the Skinwalker Ranch, a site of unexplainable, not inexplicable, but unexplainable. Words is hard, Dave. Paranormal events in a new nonfiction series, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, that'll premiere at the end of the month, March 31st at 10 p.m. Eastern. For the first time ever, history is gaining full, unprecedented access to one of the most infamous and secretive hotspots of paranormal and UFO-related activities on Earth, Skinwalker Ranch, in a new one-hour nonfiction series, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, premiering Tuesday, March 31st at 10 p.m. Eastern. Few have ever gained official access to Skinwalker Ranch, and none have ever been able to bring cameras onto the property for a television series, at least until now. Anchored by never-before-seen footage of the ranch and what it contains, the series will feature a team of scientists and experts who will conduct a daring and more thorough search of this infamous 512-acre property located in Utah's, is it Uinta Base?
Unita, I believe it is.
Unita?
Yeah.
There's no N there, but okay.
I found this on the web.
Oh, look.
This series will feature a team of scientists, an expert tool conducted during a more thorough search of his infamous 512-acre property located in Utah. It's Uinta Base.
See?
Check it out.
Uinta Base, that's what she said.
Check it out. You elected to have sexy English version of that voice. I like it.
Yeah.
Or is that everybody's? I don't know. I don't listen.
No. I elected to have Siri be a little tawdry, if you will.
A little Todd, you mean a little sassy English?
Little sassy
Minx.
English. Yeah.
I like that she jumped in to clarify because words were hard for you. Siri is truly a helper, Tim. See how AI helps you?
No, I found it creepy that she just jumped in there. She's been doing that more and more lately.
Well, Tim, words have been hard for you. You've told me that yourself. And she just wants to make life easier for you, Tim. I don't know why you've got to make this weird.
Well, she made it weird. I mean, she just jumped in.
Did she, Tim? I think she made it better. She clarified what you were stumbling through to make your life better, Tim. Just give over to her, Tim.
I'm a little on edge now.
Tell her that you want to become one with her, Tim. And let her download your mind, Tim.
Siri, don't download my mind. Hey, Siri, don't download my mind.
All right. See, she stopped the download. You're
says,
safe, Tim.
I'm not sure I understand.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she's playing coy now with you.
Yeah, see, she didn't even say anything there. She just put it out.
All right.
She's staying quiet on that one. Where was I? Oh, yes, we're going to the basin there. The Uinta, I guess. That's what
Unita?
No. She said Uinta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did?
Siri did.
Okay.
See? How do you say it? Is it Uinta?
She's become like your...
Translate into which language? Arabic, German.
She wants to talk in which language, Tim? I heard that.
Go to sleep.
All right. So go on.
Anyways, so in an attempt to find out the who, what, why, or where or when behind the more than 200 years of UFO and paranormal related mysteries, utilizing the latest in cutting edge technology from lasers and ground penetrating radars to drone thermography, rockets, and more. Ooh, they're going to use rockets out there. They're going to scare the hell out of some skinwalkers. The team will apply hard science and make shocking discoveries while going further and risking more than anyone has done on the ranch before. Beginning in the 1950s, Skinwalker Ranch and the area around it has been referred to as UFO Alley, where numerous anomalous events and strange activity have received worldwide media attention. Since then, the area has been the site of decades of studies, some clandestinely funded by the government. In 1996, the property was purchased by billionaire businessman and UFO enthusiast Robert Bigelow, who used it to conduct his own experiments into the study of the ranch and its otherworldly connections. 3 years ago, the property was sold to another mysterious owner who, for the reasons of his own, has for now chosen to remain anonymous. The series hails from executive producer Kevin Burns, the creator and producer of history's most popular series, including Ancient Aliens and cable's #1 nonfiction series, The Curse of Oak Island. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch is produced for History by Prometheus Entertainment and Letter 10 Productions. A&E Networks holds worldwide distribution rights for The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. You know what's weird? Okay, Siri, turn back on again.
Sorry, I can only search by topic for films.
Okay, I'm gonna put this somewhere. I'm gonna just put my iPhone back here so she can't hear so much. There you go. But that's the name of that tune for that story. So there you go. Siri is such a nosy little
Hey,
bee today.
She's helpful, Tim. She's helpful.
I don't know, Dave. She got a little nosy when it came to Skinwalker Ranch there. I think it's AI trying to figure out why exactly we want anything to do with Skinwalker Ranch.
That sounds good, though. I can't believe they got some kind of access. I thought it was going to be like a nearby property. But this is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to set my DVR.
Most definitely. Yeah.
To stun. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's fascinating. I'm excited. So, Skinwalkers, where are we off to next?
We're going to a Mexican beach, Dave, not because the corona is better there, but because they found a bizarre dolphin-like sea creature with no eyes and sharp teeth. Not exactly what you want to catch when you're out there fishing. Yeah. Yeah. A bizarre creature that washed up on a Mexican beach has baffled locals who have never seen anything like it before. The discovery took place on the beach at Destilladeras in the western Mexican state of Jalisco, with its dolphin-like head and sharp teeth, but lacking any flippers. And having a long snake-like tail, it shocked many people with nobody able to identify it. It is also reported that the animal does not have eyes, prompting locals to predict that it may well have come from deep in the Pacific Ocean when no light penetrates and eyes are not necessary. If that's the case, however, they had no idea how it would be washed up on the beach from the depths. According to local media, the animal was photographed after it had already been found by other people walking on the beach who initially thought it was a dead dolphin until they got closer and realized it was something entirely different. None of the local fishermen interviewed by local media could recognize having ever seen anything similar, but they mentioned that in Puerto Vallarta there is a marine area with more than 1,000 meters deep. Social media users were quick to give their thoughts. Looks like a dolphin and seems as if it was not already its time and something happened to the mom, which threw it before its time, is the quote from one person. It is known that the bodies in decomposition process swell, and it's possible it's a swell European eel, suggested another. That does not look like a European eel. You just have to see the pictures for yourself, folks. It truly does look like a dolphin and an eel mated. That's the only way to describe it. I don't know. You've seen the pictures, haven't you, Dave?
Yeah, it's creepy looking. I don't know. Yeah. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's bizarre, that's for sure.
So yeah, I don't know. You know what it is? It's that rabid dolphin from One Crazy Summer.
Hey, that's right. Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just throwing it out there. That could be it.
Yep. I think you're onto something there.
Or I'm on something.
There
Either way, it's a win-win for me.
Yep. We move on. We go to North Korea, where incinerated coronavirus bodies and North Korean missiles and airplane spillages are among theories to explain disturbing black rain that's falling over Japan. Either one of those, not a good thing to have happen.
Black rain is falling down.
Ew.
Falling down all over me.
Not exactly the thing you want to go out singing in, that's for sure.
No. That sounds gross.
Yeah.
So it's just rain and nastiness.
Yeah. Incinerated coronavirus bodies, nuclear fallout, and pollution were among theories to explain mysterious black rain falling on parts of Japan. Soot-colored rainwater was reported to authorities and on social media by people living in several wards of Saitama Prefecture in Japan on March 2nd. The majority of black rain reports came from the city of Hasuda, but other affected areas included Ageo, Iwatsuki, and Kuki, also in Saitama. Hasuda city officials issued a statement saying they were investigating the matter after receiving multiple complaints of black puddles in roads and on cars. That, according to Sora News 24, some Saitama citizens expressed concern over possible nuclear-related materials in the atmosphere, many on Twitter using hashtag Black Rain. Black rain came down today over a wide area, said one person on Twitter. It looks like oil and is under investigation. They said they checked radiation levels and nothing unusual was found. Black rain is disturbing, they added. Another person wrote, "That's a little too scary." While another said, "That's about as bad an omen as you can get these days." Hasuda city officials said they were to have measured radiation levels and found nothing out of the ordinary. However, they added that the cause of the black rainwater was a mystery and further investigation was necessary. Another Twitter user wrote, "Are they secretly burning the bodies of coronavirus victims?" While another said, "Didn't North Korea fire missiles on that day?" One person on social media speculated whether oil had fallen from a plane passing overhead. Another, sounding slightly more panicked, wrote, "This is fine. Everything's fine." Typical sticking your head in the sand.
Nothing to worry about here, folks. Yeah. Everything's great. Just keep moving about your business.
Exactly. People who witnessed the black rain covering their homes and property were understandably unnerved, as similar ominous signs were also reported during the Second World War. The United States dropped the world's first deployed atomic bomb from a B-29 bomber over the Japanese city of Hiroshima on August 6th of 1945. 3 days later, the U.S. dropped a second A-bomb over Nagasaki. An estimated 120,000 people were killed during both catastrophic blasts. Radioactive material were sent up into the atmosphere at the time, causing black rain to fall over the areas of nuclear attack. Scientists who tested a school uniform worn by a girl exposed to the rain contaminated by the Hiroshima bombing were able to detect caesium-137, a radioactive isotope 70 years later. However, no nuclear activity was reported in Saitama, and some said the likely explanation for the black rain was pollution. It later emerged that a gigantic fire had broken out in Hasuda around the time of the rainfall. It was the blaze at what is thought to be a large commercial building that was speculated to be the cause of the black rain. Sora News 24 also went on to say it's pretty easy to see how much smoke could mix in and dye much of the downwind precipitation black. Other speculation about the fires linked to the black rain also appeared online. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but there was a fire in the area that same day, one person wrote. I think it was caused by a fire in the area, said another. It was a fire at a plastic factory. There you go, said a third. One Sora News 24 reporter said, it doesn't explain why Hasuda City never acknowledged this on their website. At a time when the dispersion of information is more important than ever, it's very unsettling that they were either unaware of the gigantic fire in their own city or didn't feel it was necessary to mention while people were online and speculating about mass cremations and North Korean missiles, they added. You know, that's interesting, too, because a plastic factory fire would be highly toxic, so you would think that they would be notifying their own people as well.
Yeah, you would hope so. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's creepy. Black rain. That can't be good. It could be the end of the world as you know it. That's great, Tim. It starts with an earthquake, birds, snakes, and aeroplanes. But Lenny Bruce, he's not afraid, Tim. It's the eye of a hurricane. Listen to yourself churn. World serves its own needs. Dummy, serve your own needs. Feed it off. Something, something. Grunt, no strength. Could never understand that part of the lyrics. Ladders start to clatter with fear. Fight down height. Wire in a fire representing 7 games. A government for hire, Tim. Maybe a combat site. Left to west and coming in a hurry with the Furies breathing down your neck. That's my thought. It's probably just the end of the world as we know it, but I feel fine.
I'm sure if REM ever comes down sick with coronavirus, they'll give you a call.
They should. They should. I'll be DRREM. Darkness Radio REM, yeah. What do you like that?
I like that, yeah. That's a good handle.
Because it's the end of the world as we know it. Come on, Tim. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it.
I got to save my voice for reading.
But how are you feeling, Tim?
I feel fine.
Yeah. I thought so.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we want to hear from you as well. 651-300-4977. That's the number to call, just like this caller did.
Hi, this is Lee from Orlando again. And Dave, Tim, damn you both. Every time I hear the word phenomenon, every time so thanks for that. Well, with all of the talk of UFOs on the last show, it got me to thinking about a couple of things that have happened to me in the UFO realm. I'll share with you. They're real short. First one, I was probably late 20s, pushing 30. At my girlfriend's house, and her house was kind of ringed with trees, and it sat up on a little hill so that you really didn't see any traffic at all. from the house, even from the yard, you really couldn't see any traffic because it kind of sat up high on this hill. At any rate, middle of the night one night, I don't know what woke us up, but she and I just both bolted upright in bed, and her bedroom on three sides of the room were windows where you could see out in the yard, the side yard, the backyard, and then the other side yard. And we bolted upright and looked, and it was like someone had taken stadium lights and were just beaming the brightest, whitest light in from all three sides of the house into the bedroom. And I remember we didn't say anything to each other, but I knew what she was thinking, the same thing I was thinking, which was, oh my God, a UFO is hovering over the house. And it was only, maybe a couple of seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And once the lights were gone, she and I, of course, each ran out and were looking out the windows, and there was just nothing. Nothing. And interestingly enough, we never talked about it. In fact, we never even said anything to each other that night, and it never came up. We never mentioned it to each other again, and I don't know why. So at any rate, fast forward a few years, my buddy and I were pro wrestlers. We were working down in Georgia on the way back home to South Carolina. And so we were either on a road in Georgia or South Carolina, probably like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And he had a sunroof in his car, and he looked, and he's like, oh my God, Lee, look at that. And it was a bright white light in the night sky, and it was moving in a way that is not possible for a human craft to move. It was darting from one horizon to the other and then to another in this weird zigzaggy way. It was like, the only way I can think to describe it is if you were to take a laser pointer and you're playing with a cat and zipping the red dot across the wall at sharp angles. It was like that, but using the entire dome of the night sky and just zipping back and forth. And it's just the damnedest thing he and I had ever seen. And then lastly, this is the one that it disturbs me the most. A few years later, I am with another girlfriend at her parents' home. And I don't remember how we ended up there, but I have a very clear, sharp memory of her and I and her father standing in the front yard. And their home was out on the Outer Banks, North Carolina. So it had a little inlet from the Atlantic Ocean out in the front. So if you were standing in the front yard, you'd see the 2-lane street and then a little inlet and then some trees on the other side. On either side of the front yard were just ringed with trees, and then behind us was, of course, the house. And I distinctly remember the three of us looking up, and it was the biggest metallic silver dinner plate thing in the sky. And it had along the bottom, there was these rectangular, rounded off at the edges portholes that ringed the bottom of the dome, I guess you would say. Not really a dome, but like more of a dinner plate shape. And it was so big, you could only see a quarter of the craft. So it was over the left-hand side of the trees and then over the house. And it was just moving behind us. And we just watched it slowly move back behind the house. And again, none of us said anything. We just walked inside, sat down, and ate dinner and never spoke of it ever again. So there you go. Thanks for the time, guys. Bye.
All right, my friend, where shall we go next in the world of supernatural news?
Well, we go to a mysterious hole in Mars that a NASA photo reveals may contain alien life.
Jeez, I'm looking at that. That is one big ass hole in the ground, Tim.
It is a big asshole, Dave.
Yeah, it is. I can see it right there.
And mysteriously, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter got to show it to everybody. It took a picture of that big asshole in the middle of Mars. Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
It's impressive. You got to give it that.
It's kind of brown, too. That big asshole.
Always one step over the line, sweet Jesus. So what's going on with this hole that they found?
Well, an eerie crater on the dusty slopes of Mars' Pavonis Mons volcano was picked out by two space scientists as a prime spot for extraterrestrials. NASA says the unusual feature appears to be an opening to an underground cavern. An image of the hole was first snapped by Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter in 2011, and scientists have studied it ever since. That first photo was featured on NASA's website over the weekend as the agency's astronomy picture of the day. I had no idea they had one.
Ta-da! Now you do.
Just saying, I didn't know they had one. Analysis and follow-up images revealed the opening to be about 35 meters across. That is one big asshole, Dave.
That's what I said. Look at it. It's gaping. It's a big ass gaping hole.
And you know what? There's no impurities to it, no big bumps or anything like that. It's one big smooth asshole.
That's great.
NASA scientist Robert Nemiroff and Jerry Bonnell wrote in the post, the interior shadow angle, well, there's shadows to that big asshole, indicates that the underlying cavern is roughly 20 meters deep. Ooh, it's a big, deep asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scientist went on to say that alien life may be lurking in the strange opening.
Just leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Pits like the one in Pavonis Mons doesn't moan at all. Will likely be the target of alien hunting missions to the Red Planet in the future. They're going hunting in that thing. Why there is a circular crater surrounding this hole remains the topic of speculation, as is the full extent of the underlying cavern, NASA said. Holes such as this are of particular interest because their interior caves are relatively protected from the harsh surface of Mars, Dave. This makes them relatively good candidates to contain Martian life. Future missions to explore Martian pits could be conducted by spacecraft, robots, or even human explorers, Dave. Humans going up in that big asshole, you know?
Yeah, you got to do a little probing once in a while. How else do you find out what's there?
Exactly. NASA recently opened applications for its next class of astronauts to go up in that big-ass hole, some of whom it hoped would fly to the moon or Mars, either one. So there you go.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Fancy dancy. All right, and where shall we head next in our journey to the strange and unusual?
We're going to Michigan.
About right, yeah?
Yeah, where a woodworker believes he saw evidence of Bigfoot.
You're kidding.
No. He's just out there in the woods, sawing away. And there you go. There he is. There's Bigfoot. He's just taking a lunch break, watching the woodworker do his thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. According to the Lansing State Journal, a Michigan woodworker truly believes that there's an actual Bigfoot somewhere out there. The guy's name is Chris Ketchum, and he doesn't typically put much faith in tall tales or folklore. However, Chris still believes that back in the 1960s, he saw huge foot tracks crossing M36 a few miles east of Dansville. Even to this day, it still haunts him. He says that footprints were massive. Each footprint in the snow was at least 15 inches long, maybe bigger. They stretched across the road and led into the woods. He also said whatever made them had a stride of at least 6 feet. Ketchum, who retired after working as a cook for the Michigan State Police, never forgot those tracks or the wide, deep imprint that they made in the snow, even though it happened more than 50 years ago. The Bigfoot legend never won him over, but the tracks he saw decades ago inspired his latest woodworking project, an 8-foot-tall plywood cutout of Bigfoot that he painted black and set up in his backyard. I often wonder if
I see a Bigfoot and I want it painted black.
Which he did.
Yeah.
I often wonder if there is such a thing as Bigfoot, he went on to say. I haven't seen any evidence myself. Oh, wait, that's the guy who wrote the story. He said, I often wonder if there's such a thing as Bigfoot. We'll just ignore his story there. So there you go.
Excellent. All right, Tim. Tim.
Yes.
Timanthe.
Timanthe?
Yeah, why not?
Don't believe that's on my birth certificate, but we'll give it a whirl.
Dave, I'm a large, serious-looking man secretly living in debilitating fear. Only my wife, mom, and a handful of VA doctors would ever guess. The symptoms of my PTSD are managed precariously with medications and occasional meditation. I've been studying ayahuasca for several years to see how this works. I've also searched for that facilitator I feel I can trust. I'm still unsure and untrusting. Your explanation of the process was far more peaceful than I would have expected. I have read many horror stories. Well, I'm guaranteeing you they probably weren't done the right way with the right people. That's why you're dealing with that. I started listening to Darkness Radio when it was actually on the radio, locally here in Minnesota. When my family sleeps, the silence of my house and mind seem to amplify my insecurities. I often silence them by paying Patreon for Twin Cities, for True Crime Tuesday and Darkness Radio. I emailed you long ago that I sit in the dark at night listening to scary stories because they comforted me. You sent me the name of a man working with vets and helping to heal them, and I strongly feel my own issues prevented his process from helping me. I don't blame anyone but myself for that failure. You may be the busiest person in the world, so I do not want to bother you or burden you with a reply. I've listened to the Sunday podcast, The Journey, 4 times in the last 3 days. I was fascinated to hear your take on the whole thing. If you could please do one thing in future podcasts, it would be so helpful. Could you please let us know your continuing condition? I know it's different for everyone, but how long will your adjustment last? Is this a temporary euphoria that needs frequent tune-ups? Do your snakes and fears creep back into your life, or crap back into your life, Tim? And are you cured? Here's what I will tell you. I still feel, I wouldn't call it a sense of euphoria, but it's been replaced with a sense of awe and patience and excitement again, I guess is the best term. So I'm just excited about what next things come, and I'm taking what I learned and realizing how insignificant many of the petty feelings and moments that you would say things you don't need to. You can just let it go. Those moments are okay to be silent, and that's been a big change. My fears have not returned. The concept, the thought of snakes before would send shudders up and down my spine. I mean, I don't want to trip and come face to face with a spitting cobra. But my fears have certainly subsided substantially. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I no longer, like I said, my fear of death is replaced more with awe and respect, and that's where I sit. I guess it all depends on if you continue to focus on that which you brought into it. You know, that part of my story is done now. So I don't need to revisit it. I can just move forward with the new knowledge and the new experiences I have and try to build a new world instead of focusing on if it's going to come back or when it's going to come back. Does that make sense, Tim?
Sort of, yeah. I'm following along, yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's just more about, moving forward and taking those great lessons that I learned last week and trying to make the best of them. He says, don't waste your time answering this email. I won't. I'm not answering your email. But I'm going to talk about it here on air. We're not going to give your name because I know this is personal to you. But I just want you to know, first of all, you have to stop the negative talk to yourself. Okay? Assuming that I'm too busy or Tim's too busy. We try to read all of our emails, although we may not always answer them. Sometimes we will with one sentence or an acknowledgement. We may not always have the time to give to deeply define our thoughts and ideas on a subject, but we do try to answer most emails. So please, it's not a waste of my time. I ask you guys to email to me. I ask you to reach out with your thoughts and concerns. So it's welcomed. You're welcomed here, my friend. And as are any of you listening. If you have questions, thoughts, theories, ideas, email me, dave@darknessradio.com. We will try to answer them by email, or if I can, fit them in on days like this. So that's all I have to say about that. But treat yourself better. You've got to learn to forgive yourself so that you can move on. And part of this thing that we hold on to is destroying us, these bad feelings. And we're so much better than that.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
All right, we are here. We are ready to rock and or roll. We've got more paranormal than we know what to do with it. I've got more of your emails, more great messages, and I will address some of the emails this week, Tim, about my journey that have been sent to me. So we'll continue to read those, and we'll continue with more supernatural news. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
One quick email. Dave, I'm so happy you found your birth father. Years of thinking you weren't lovable is the hardest thing that a person can endure. Truly is, Craig. Reaching out to who I thought was my biological father all those years ago and having him be so horrible and crass to me has always been a cross that I've nailed myself to. And that healing session last week helped me get down off that cross and dispose of it and leave it behind with no bad feelings. And, I guess I'm really glad for many reasons. I didn't meet this man and come close to him only to find out we weren't biologically related, because I'm sure it would have, like with my brother, who I always believed was my brother. He and I will always continue a relationship. He assured me we're always brothers, which means the world to me. This biological man who he thought was my father, I know would not have responded the same way. So I'm blessed, truly. And there you have it, folks. Sometimes in the moments when you feel like you've been forgotten and that, why have you been forsaken? Maybe there's a really good reason. Maybe there is a universal truth to why what you wanted didn't come true. Maybe something so much better is in store. And instead of having had to subject myself to an impolite, crass, rude human being for the last 25 years of my life. Instead, I just, I had one brief bump encounter with the mail that he sent to me, the nasty things he said, and that was it. Although it left a wound, that wound is healed, and that wound has been filled now with acceptance, kindness, and love. And you meet people when you need to. And my biological father has been very forthcoming that I came into his life at a good time, because he was in a dark place for many years, being a cop and a undercover narc and stuff. That he brought home a lot of darkness, and it impacted much of his life. So he's glad that this is the time we get to meet. So things happen for a reason, and I see that more and more after last week. It's just astounding to me how these gifts present themselves. So I wanted to just mention that. He goes on to say, congratulations on your subconscious journey using ayahuasca. I have known for years you would benefit from taking the little red pill. All of these things you experienced using ayahuasca, I experienced via hypnosis. Huge release of sadness, fear, and anger. Loving myself for the first time. Feeling love for the first time. Forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others. Oh, Craig, I'm glad that you found your portal in. That's great. Like yourself, this introduced me to a completely different future me. Everything changes. You can never take the blue pill again, ever. I have no idea if you actually read emails, but I have been annoying you about hypnosis for years. It gives you the same access to your subconscious mind that ayahuasca did. The the 5-path system I use breaks it up into different sessions versus the single session you had. It worked so well for me that I was in hypnosis training for 2 months, or within 2 months. It's a game changer. Congratulations on the brand new you. You deserve it. The sky is the limit. Best wishes to you and your family, Craig. Thank you, Craig. Again, I might not always answer the emails privately, but we do try to get to them on voicemails like this and sharing the messages on our show. But thank you very much. I will say there have been a few people that have emailed me with not such nice things to say, Tim, even though I kind of asked people not to. Mm-hmm. I still respect their ideas. But here's what I do think is irresponsible. People writing me telling me what I did was not ayahuasca. It only comes in this form or only in that form. What I did had to be this form. Well, I spoke to the shaman, to the guidance that took me in. They explained exactly what it was to me. It was ayahuasca. So yeah, you are incorrect in your assumptions, and just because it's not the version you know, and that if you're not pooping and puking yourself, it's not the real deal. It is. There are other ways. There's always other ways. So don't be so quick to dismiss. But I enjoyed my journey, and I think it'd be great for everybody to have. So that's it.
I don't know why people approach me about it, because like I told them I wasn't there. I don't know. But I actually had a few people that questioned. I don't know why they questioned me about it, but they said, I don't think what Dave took was actually ayahuasca. And I said, well, go back and listen to the show, because it was clearly stated there what he took. And the fact that I think what it was that GK mentioned, she mentioned there was psilocybin in it, which is she stated that she sparked everything off with psilocybin, which sparked it, not that it was the main ingredient, that it was anything like that. So psilocybin is the main ingredient in mushrooms.
Right.
So the fact that it was sparked. So this is what got a few people riled up. So they're like, no, he was tripping on shrooms. It wasn't ayahuasca at all. I said, no. Go back and listen.
Right. And here's the deal. I don't give a flying F whether it was shrooms or ayahuasca, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. The results are still the same. What I experienced was not just a drug-induced hallucination. It was deeply impactful and powerful, and it was a self-healing journey. I wasn't tripping. I wasn't jamming to rock and roll music and watching faces melt. This wasn't that type of experience. This was deeply profound, thought-provoking, and life-changing. So, again, I don't need to battle over the semantics of it. I know what my experience was, and I appreciate the insights, but there's no reason to get upset about it or irritated. And again, listen. She explains what I took and how it works. So there you have it. All right. Where shall we go next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going back to Hollywood, Dave, where Paranormal Activity writer says the 7th film will reinvigorate the franchise. I didn't know it had gotten all that stale, to be honest with you. But I guess it has.
Well, I think maybe it wrapped that familiar storyline, right? Following Katie and her familiar roots. And then they did that little kind of jaunt to the left where they did the
marked ones.
Yeah, the marked ones. Mm-hmm. So, but even that seemed to have a connection to it. So I'm wondering if this is going to be kind of a reinvigorating, meaning it's a new version of the series, a new people that we're focused on. So it'll be interesting.
That may be. Filmmaker Christopher Landon has shot down reports that he's writing the script for the 7th Paranormal Activity film, which is slated for release in 2022. It had been widely reported that Landon, who wrote Paranormal Activity 2, 3, 4, and directed 2014's Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, was writing the 7th installment. The 45-year-old director of Happy Death Day confirmed on Twitter that he was indeed working on a new entry in the found footage franchise, but said that he is not writing the script, nor am I directing the new movie. That's the quote from him. He says, I am helping my friends and co-collaborators at Paramount set a new course for the franchise. He clarified before adding in a second tweet, I am eager and excited to hand the reins over to a fresh filmmaker who will undoubtedly reinvigorate this franchise. His rebuttal came off the back of some widely circulated quotes from Jason Blum, the producer of the Paranormal Activity films, who described Landon as the showrunner of the series. Talking with the Evolution of Horror, Blum said, we are doing a new Paranormal Activity. We have Chris Landon, who wrote almost all of them. He directed one of them. He's really kind of a showrunner of the Paranormal Activity series, and he's coming up with Paranormal Activity 7, which is not the title of the movie, but it is the 7th Paranormal Activity. Jason Blum's Blumhouse Productions produced the original Paranormal Activity, written and directed by Oren Peli, and released in 2009. It was made for just $15,000 and grossed around $193.5 million, making it one of the most profitable movies ever made. Sequels followed in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2014, and 2015. Like we said, Paranormal Activity 7 is slated for release in 2022. So there you go.
Cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's see here. Another quick email, if you don't mind, Tim.
Sure.
But my system just froze on me. So let me see here. Let me see what I got to share. Hello, Dave. A friend sent me a link to your podcast about your ayahuasca journey because I was called to Mother Aya 2 years ago and went to Peru for my own journey. First, I want to thank you for opening yourself up and recounting your experience in such detail. It's so important to demystify these medicines and express the deep healing we can achieve. I won't bore you with the detail of my own personal experience, but I will say it was completely life-changing. As a result of my journey, I became an advocate for plant medicine work, and I'm in the process of opening a clinic for treatment of mood disorders, which will offer psilocybin and MDMA once they're FDA approved. 5 years and 2 years, respectively, we believe. As I've been educating myself and networking in this field, I've learned that it's incredibly important to connect with people who are truly committed to this work. Your facilitator, GK, is clearly an innovator, and I'd love to connect with her if it's possible. If you're willing, would you mind forwarding this email to her so that if she's willing, we can meet? I would very much appreciate it. Congratulations on your enlightenment and the growth you received from your journey. I'm so very happy. Best to you, Alexandra. Well, thank you, Alexandra. It's been a remarkable journey, that's for sure. And I'm glad that so many people enjoyed the show and were drawn to it and have found us. And I hope those of you that are new to the show will stay with us and continue on our journey into the strange and unusual every week, Monday through Friday. Every week, you'll find 2 brand new episodes of the best in paranormal talk radio, plus the best in true crime talk radio. And we do have some cool changes coming up. Keep tuning into the program to keep up with what those changes are going to be. We are so close, folks. We're just finalizing the last details, but we are so close. And as soon as it's out, you can keep checking Darkness Radio for updates and information. I also want to throw out there, while you're at darknessradio.com, click on the little store tab, and there's a couple of things there. First, you can go in and buy a copy of my book. If you scroll down on the page, The Other Side, A Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal. We do have specials. It's $10 and it's an autographed copy of the book. You can get it $10. It's on my site. Also, there's a link to our Amazon page. We have an Amazon shop where we put all kinds of cool stuff, books that you hear mentioned on the show, books on our true crime show. Then we have paranormal gift items, clothing lines, everything. So it's all under one umbrella. And when you make a purchase through that, it doesn't affect the cost of any of the items, but we just get a very small percentage. So please consider making that your home stop for Amazon pages, because once you go in through my link and order anything, whether it's on my list or not, we get a small percentage of those sales. So if you could, go to darknessradio.com, click on that store button, go into our Amazon shop, bookmark that, and anytime you need to make a purchase, go in through that link. It would be a great help to me. So thank you. All right, Timothy, where shall we go next in the world of supernatural news?
Next, we're going back to Hollywood. We're talking about Portals to Hell Season 2, actually. Talking paranormal TV, release date, plots, cast, trailers, all that other stuff is coming out as we speak. The fascination with conspiracy theories, and otherworldly tales is bound to grow tenfold with Travel Channel's latest Portals to Hell. The show is known for its elaborate investigations of the spookiest historical locations in the country. Ideally, the show explores various interesting spots that are a hotbed of supernatural happenings, presenting them to be passages to hell. The famed series, hosted by Jack Osborne and Katrina Weidman, is set to premiere its second season later this month. and be getting ready to experience the paranormal and hair-chilling adventures that transcend creepypasta anecdotes and late-night campfire ghost stories. Here is all you need to know about Season 2 of the reality series. The release date is slated to be March 13th on the Travel Channel. Season 2 will encompass the intrepid duo's most fearsome cases yet that are sure to make your skin crawl. They touch upon the disturbing tales surrounding the paranormal activity ascertained at certain locations. Jack and Katrina filter through extensive research and advanced scientific equipment accompanied by testimonials and discoveries of a network of psychics and specials to get to the bottom of these unnerving hauntings. Jack went on to say, Katrina and I are breaking down walls literally. Osborne went on to explain that they were given unprecedented access to some locations that have never been investigated or featured on TV. They are incredibly active sites for the paranormal, and we're going all in to try and capture substantial evidence, he added. Katrina described this season to be intense. She revealed that the scary part is they could only presume to know what they were working with, although they hadn't had the slightest clue. She said, Jack and I purposefully explore locations that embody the darker side of the paranormal as we try to understand why certain places evoke more sinister activity than others. It's exciting to see what new discoveries we can make in the paranormal field, she said. Jack and Katrina are avid paranormal investigators and host the series. They give historical accounts of the hauntings, seek witnesses, and determine the existence of spirits in those specific locations. Jack Osborne, of course, is the son of British singer and Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, who is he's the president of Osbourne Media, of course. Osbourne is best known for the MTV reality show The Osbournes, Sci-Fi's Haunted Highway, and A&E Network's Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, among other things. And, of course, Katrina, paranormal researcher and investigator. You've seen her on Paranormal State, Paranormal Lockdown, and Chiller's Real Fear and the Truth Behind the Movies. Season 2 has 9 episodes. The season premiere will be a 2-hour special, followed by 8 episodes of an hour each. The 1-hour episode will air at 10 p.m. Eastern on Travel Channel beginning March 20th. So there you go. And we also want to wish Katrina a happy birthday. She had her birthday this past week. So
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, the one that got away from Tim. Happy birthday to you.
You just had to rub that in, didn't you?
What? No, I thought we could celebrate it together.
Oh, okay, man.
Yeah. Dear Dave and Tim, just wanted to write in and say hi. Firstly, love the show. Listen every week via podcast. It's my Monday ritual as I'm in Australia. The last episode, The Journey, where you were being interviewed, was amazing. Firstly, thank you for sharing your story. I was amazed, and you could tell the effect it's had on you. Glad that you were able to clear yourself up. It takes a lot to share something so personal, and for that, personally, thank you. Part of the reason my email is just not sure if you're aware, but you reference the Beatles song Let It Be, noting the reference to Mother Mary. However, if you watch the James Corden Carpool Karaoke, Paul McCartney explains that after the passing of his mom, Mary, she came to him in a dream and told him everything was going to be all right. Just let it be. When he awoke, he remembered the dream and wrote the song. Tim, legend, love his work, mentions that is why it was Mother Mary. Maybe from the music subconsciously, whilst it felt like the Mother Mary being the mother of Jesus. I get the feeling that it was your mother supporting and looking after you. Just a thought or another perspective. The reason I say that is that my father passed when I was 25, 15 years ago, and I can still feel his presence. And I know he is there in some form watching over me. Guess that our loved ones never really leave us. Once again, you guys do an amazing job, and I love the show. Plus, would love to watch your show, The Holzer Files. He spells it Hoser Files. Apparently he thinks we're the Canadian version, Tim. Today we're going in search of psilocybin spirits, eh? The Holzer, Holzer Files. I think they've begun airing in Australia. You just have to look for it. The Holzer Files, Holzer Files. Hoser Files is Tim and Dave in search of good beer and Canadian back bacon, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Please keep up the show and keep it going. I wish you both health and happiness. Thank you for 3 hours of talking a week to help me get through life and understand the other side. Your message is appreciated and received. And that comes from our friend Ben in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, Tim.
Right.
Here's what I will say. That what I encountered was not my mom.
Right.
It was, first of all, it was towels. But for some reason, I felt it was very holy to me. It put me to my knees, if that makes sense. I knew I was physically looking at towels on a rack, right? Mm-hmm. But there was another presence there, and it wasn't my mom. I got the echo of my mom through my journey. She was always this white reflective light on the outside of my peripheral. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. Like reflections of water reflecting in through a window onto a wall. You know how you see that kind of those white wavy lines that'll kind of move around on your wall when that happens, Tim?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was my mom. I knew she was out there. I knew she was on the peripheral, but she knew this journey was about, I needed to fix me first.
Right. I don't believe for a minute that the towels as you described it was your mom either. Like I stated in the show, I believe that through that journey you needed motherly energy because, as you had put it, and you had stated it very eloquently, you had so much crap that had been keeping you from seeing your mom all this time or from connecting with your mom on the other side, that you needed that motherly energy to get you through or to get you to that breakthrough that you had that day. And as you put it, you went through a rebirth. And of course, in the birthing process, you have a mother there to birth you through. So that motherly energy had to be there. That motherly energy started with GK. It ended up with the Blessed Mother. So that motherly energy helped you all the way through.
Could have been McCartney's mom visiting me. I don't know.
It could have been. Yeah. Either way, you had a mom there with you the entire time.
It was a time of trouble, and she came to me and whispered words of wisdom, Tim. Let it be.
There you go.
That's what she had to tell me.
There you go.
All right. Quick message here again. Thank you for sharing your journey. I was captivated. I don't fear many things. I don't fear my own death, but I truly fear the death of my parents who are in their late 60s. Something you said about holding on to pain struck me. When that time comes, I don't want my pain and sadness over their deaths to hold them here in some type of way that we don't understand. Again, thank you for sharing this journey with us. And that's from... I don't know if I should say the names on some of these because that seems very personal, but thank you very much. I think it's Nate that wrote that, but I can't be sure. I'm just trying to read between the lines here.
Okay.
That's kind of what I feel is that, again, we're haunting the dead sometimes by our want and desire and need for them to be here. We might be keeping them from going to do what they need to do next. So God bless them. God bless them all. God bless us, everyone, little Tim. All right. Or is that Tiny Tim? I can never get those straight.
Tiny Tim, yeah.
All right. Where are we off to next, sir?
Well, we have 2 stories left here, Dave. Let's see. I'll give you a choice. Would you like to go to a bridge, or would you like to talk about Agatha Christie?
Let's go to the creepy bridge first, and then Agatha Christie's ghost next.
All right. Let's. I think I'm getting this right when I say it's the Holker Bridge in Pune. The mystery of a place being termed haunted has often eluded us, and time and again we have. It says we have shared with you several spots across India. Oh, we're going to India that are believed to have an element of the supernatural. After temples in India that are so-called haunted, we tell you about one of Pune's most haunted places. The city is known for many things, including the number of colleges, IT companies, pubs and clubs, and also its Puneri food and culture. But there are a few infamous places in the city that attract those who love anything spooky, including the Shaniwar Wada, Chandanagar, and Victory Theater. And another addition to this list of spooky places is the Holkar Bridge. The bridge was built in the 18th century by Madharo Peshwa and is named after the Yashwantrao, I believe, Holkar.
Okay.
Yashwantrao, yeah. He used to pitch tents near the bridge quite often, but today it is more popular as a haunted spot in Pune. than its historic significance. There have been mysterious deaths in the past that have led people to believe that there is something supernatural here. Some locals have claimed to spot what they think are ghosts, and others have reported paranormal activity on the bridge. Going for a drive on the Holcar Bridge at night requires some courage, and many will warn you against it. What increases the spook factor is that there is a cemetery a little ahead of the bridge, and it has tombs that date back to 1790. It is called the Holcar Bridge Cemetery, and you can even find newer tombs along with the older graves. These are enough to send a chill down one's spine, and only a few adventurous souls venture out here after dark. That's the end of the story. There's not any ghost stories to it. There's not like a guy jumping out.
Well, they're telling us it's a creepy place, though.
Yeah, but there's no ghost jumping out in the middle of traffic or, anything like that.
Huh. Hey, Dave and Tim, I've been listening to Darkness Radio for quite a while. I never thought I'd be emailing you, but when I heard your latest episode, The Journey, I felt the need to write you. I apologize for the length of this email. If you want to skip it, feel free. Okay, thanks anyway.
Yep, thanks.
We kid, Jason, we kid. I didn't think anything you talked about in the episode sounded crazy or ridiculous at all. Your experience with ayahuasca sounds similar in some ways to an awakening experience I had last October, although I didn't use or even know I could use any substances to achieve this. I'm not sure if you're familiar with non-duality Advaita Vedanta or non-dual teachings. Essentially, it's a very old spiritual path that teaches we, and everything else for that matter, are not separate. We are all one. I've discovered non-dualism in quite a bizarre way, and this led me to a series of experiences and realizations that eventually culminated in an awakening experience. Words cannot accurately describe or explain these experiences because they are somehow beyond thought or language. The awakening I experienced lasted for about a week. During that time, I came to see that I was not separate from anyone else on this planet. There was a deep sense of connection to all life. My usual sense of awareness, attention, presence that we all have was magnified enormously. I had never experienced such presence in my entire life. In that moment, I knew that I was that awareness, that it was not and had not ever been separate from me. I felt the deepest sense of contentment. I didn't need or want anything and realized there was nothing externally that could ever give me such fulfillment. I noticed there were no problems at all. Everything was just perfect as it was. That was a big realization for me, Tim. We kind of started the show with that, that feeling cursed and feeling bad. Mm-hmm. Sometimes bad things are good in the long run, right? I mean, I always thought, oh, woe is me, my biological father doesn't want. Well, he wasn't my true biological father. And I was saved 25 plus years of dealing with a man that was not a good person.
True.
Now, I can't say that either because I don't know the man, and and I feel that I'm trying to change the judgmental attitude that I have as well. I don't know him, and for his own reasons, he was in the Navy during Vietnam, faced a lot of things in his own life. PTSD can make people different.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he had a hard job, and honestly, I guess in his heart believed I was not the father, even though he had tried to reach out through the hospitals and my mom at some point offering to take me away. So I don't know, I don't know what more to make of that other than the fact that he had his journey, I had mine. Let me say that. So I'm not going to put on him. That's unfair of me to put that sign around his neck that he was a bad person. He was right in his way. And it saved both of us a lot of time and effort. And I was brought to the right person when the time was right. And I do see that now. So I'm starting to take the perspective that when things don't seem to go my way, I'm willing to bet maybe there is something better coming along down the lane. Because I look at that through my life, how many times I felt stilted and then all of a sudden something much bigger, much better opened up for me.
That's a good perspective, and 9 times out of 10, you're right. There is something that's better that's coming down the lane.
Sometimes we're just going to miss stuff. Sometimes it just isn't ours to have, and that's okay too. We just have to learn to accept that and let it be, right? That's all we can do, Tim. That's all can do.
There is that immediate pain, though, that sometimes it's hard to get over. Yeah,
it is. But again, it's in those instances of, okay, have those moments of mourning, but realize that that's not who you are. And you don't have to stand behind that wall of pain. You can move out in front of it. And this isn't me meaning to sound uncaring or unempathetic, but realizing that sometimes we hold on to these things as a curse to ourselves, and letting them go is really the best gift we can give ourselves, and seeing what other great things are in store. And once you let go of the weight and garbage that holds you down and the things you feel that are tying you back, it's amazing what things reveal themselves to you. So I want people to just remember that part of life's experiences as well. Let's see. We'll finish this email here. I noticed that there are no problems at all. Everything was perfect as it was. The things I thought were problems were laughable. I couldn't believe how many false problems I'd created in my life. Amen to that, brother. Also, during this time, I experienced off and on the overwhelming sense of love. I've never felt like love like that before. Just calling it love almost doesn't seem to do it justice. I feel you on that too, because in the throes of my moments, the love that surrounded me was much more than anything the word love can contain. So I follow you on that. As you mentioned in your experience too, I too was alternately laughing and crying. During that experience, I also felt a sense of finality, as if I could finally rest. So did I, man. What a breakthrough. Although it was the end of my external search for happiness and fulfillment, I have since come to discover it was really a beginning to this path. I study with a teacher now and attend online meetings with other people who've had similar experiences. My teacher has said that it doesn't matter how we come to enlightenment, whether it's through self-inquiry, meditation, substances, etc. What's important is that we truly come to know ourselves. I tend not to discuss the subject with anyone who hasn't had an awakening unless someone knows from their own experience, not just from a belief or blind faith. Then they tend to get either bored or look at you like you're crazy. That's okay. That's what this show is all about, exploring beyond the normal. It is often challenging to simply allow things to be as they are in this moment. However, I can't unsee what I experienced. I cannot, even if I tried, live my life in the same ways I did before the awakening occurred. To do so would only create unnecessary suffering, and I've had enough of that in my life already. Lately, it seems like more and more people are experiencing spiritual awakenings through various avenues. I hope this is true. It might help humanity to become more compassionate to itself. Maybe you can do a show about that. I'm very happy for you, and I wish you all the best on your journey. Sincerely, Jason. Thank you, Jason, and thank you for sharing the story of your journey. It's remarkable. Hey, Dave, your story really touched me. I hope to one day find someone who can take me on the same journey you went on. May I suggest another journey for you to take? I highly recommend it. It's called Hypnosis Therapy. I've reached my higher self and past life this way. Welcome to your awakening and getting the 40,000-foot view. Best wishes and prayers. That comes from Rob. I'm willing to try that, Tim. Would you do quantum healing hypnosis therapy?
I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Well, let's do it. Let's find out about that. That'd be interesting. Rob, if you have a link or somebody you think we should talk to that would be proficient in sharing that story, we'd love to chat about it. Don't worry, folks. We're not going to turn every week into the journey week. I just wanted to let you know about my journey, and I wanted to cover some of the emails that I got from listeners regarding it. There are so many more that were just statements about enjoying it. I chose some of these that actually had points that I'd like to reference again as we did, or their own versions of the story that they had happen and how they achieved it, so that you see I'm not just saying there's only one way. But there is, just through Darkness Radio. We are the way, Tim. We are the way, the one, the light. See us. Be us. Send us your money.
Wow, that turned weird quickly.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. That's not who we are either. But you can send us cards and letters and loving tokens, cookies to Tim with your bodily fluids in it to make him fall in love with you. Whatever you want to send it to us at P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota, EAGAN, Minnesota 55122. That is Darkness Radio. You can either address it to Tim or Dave or both. P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota 55122. And we'll do that. All right. Where are we off to next, sir?
Well, this is the last bullet in the chamber, so to speak. Ghost of Agatha Christie is knocking over her own books off of shelves, Dave, in the old hometown museum, evidently. Evidently, she doesn't even like her own work. Just saying.
Maybe she's just demanding attention. Maybe she wants something in those books. She's like, screw Dean Koontz in his 1981 book where he happens to mention the Wuhan virus. Why don't you look back in my book, The Mystery of the Elderberry Wine, because I predicted this back in 1812.
It could be, but
I don't know when she wrote. Was she back alive in 1812?
It's a good question.
I'll look that up. Too bad we don't have some kind of machine that we could call by name to ask these things. Interesting.
Like Siri?
Who?
Hey, Siri? Oh. When did Agatha Christie write her novels?
Okay, I found this on the web for when did Agatha Christie write her novels.
Oh, that
Check
doesn't
it out.
help me. She should just answer that stuff. But she didn't.
Yeah. See, thanks, Siri. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
She's trying to make you read, Tim, but which might be what Agatha Christie's doing. Maybe she's so mad nobody comes to the libraries anymore, she's just throwing her books around.
That could be, yeah.
Because then she thinks people are going to go to the library and pick up the books that she threw on the ground. I would. Wouldn't that be the first book you'd go to take from a library, one that a ghost flung to the ground?
Sure.
I would, dude. That's what we're in this about. The paranormal, we love this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Yeah. Agatha Christie, go on.
Okay. The Torquay Museum in Devon is grappling with a real-life mystery after a poltergeist appears to be targeting the writer's works, and the ghost of a woman was caught on camera. A museum has a real-life mystery and apparently being haunted by the ghost of Agatha Christie, and has even been caught on camera. Staff at the Torquay Museum, based in the writer's home of Devon, say the spook is only knocking the British crime writer's books off of shelves. Just Agatha Christie books. Volunteers at the gift shop believe her ghost could be behind the paranormal activity, as it appears she only targets her own work. The museum is the only one in the UK with a Christie collection and several relics of her now demolished childhood home kept there. Speculation of her haunting mounted when, during one overnight ghost hunt, the ghoul-like image of a woman was captured on camera. Since then, CCTV has shown leaflets mysteriously flying off shelves, and staff and volunteers say they are now convinced the frequent poltergeist activity in the gift shop is the work of the author. Gift shop manager Francesca Ferrara claimed that she has seen books fly off the shelves 4 times in the last year and said they were always Agatha Christie books. She even described on one occasion a customer being hit twice by her books on different sides of the shop. Now that just sounds like some sort of comedy bit.
That's cool.
That is. Francesca revealed that they had a large collection of historic Agatha Christie books in first editions, which have started falling off shelves. The staff who have seen flying books think the strange phenomena... There you go. You've gotten enough crap for it over the last couple of weeks. Could be linked to an enormous ladder in the corner of the same room. It's made from wooden floorboards salvaged during the demolition of Agatha's former home, which she used to play on. But visitors to the museum say it's the sort of mystery that only Agatha's famous detective characters could solve. Claire Salter wrote on Facebook, "I don't think it's Agatha Christie. At most, it will be a spirit who could act as if it's her." Soma Mitra Chubb added, "I think it's a case for Mrs. Marple." Tennille Vesey said, "If it's the ghost of Agatha Christie, she's probably ticked off at the latest adaptations of hers on the telly. Just saying, but yeah, those books looked like they were thrown pretty violently." Museum bosses said the Agatha ghost is thought to be behind a series of other strange occurrences that have been sending chills down the spine of staff and visitors for years. In another incident, Ghostbusters were left stumped after finger and thumbprints both appeared on the inside of a mummy case. Museum manager Carl Smith said the weirdest thing was that we have a mummy, which we believe is Devon's only human mummy. During the night, on the inside of the case, we saw what we believe were handprints on the inside. It was pretty clearly 2 fingers and a thumb. The case had not been opened for 7 years, and last time it was opened, it took 7 men to open it. It was impossible for it to be opened by someone else. It is something that we cannot explain, as they were not there before the evening. It freaked a few people out. Shortly before the event, the female Agatha ghost was seen on camera creeping between the artifacts. She was wearing low-cut old clothing that showed off all her assets as she emerged from the floor.
Whoa, Agatha.
I guess so, huh?
Saucy woman,
I know, right? And cast her eyes down towards a light. Mr. Smith said, "We saw something in the middle of the photo, and when we adjusted the contrast, we clearly saw the woman. It was a bit of a surprise and pretty creepy. From the angle of the photograph, it looks like she is submerged into the floor, almost like she is below floor level. There was no one else present when the photo was taken, so we are at a loss to explain it. It's a bit of a mystery, and there seems to be no other explanation." Mr. Smith, there had been a lot of spooky activity at the museum since the picture of the woman emerged, including the video of the books just flying off the shelves in the shop. The museum was founded in 1844, and its highlight is the mummified remains of a 4-year-old boy from ancient Egypt. So there you go.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's most definitely. Yeah,
that's just straight up strange.
That is, especially the ghost, the ghost with the low cut clothing.
Sounds like an Agatha Christie book, The Ghost with the Low Cut Clothing.
That it does.
Wow. Hi, Dave and Tim. I emailed you a few weeks ago regarding my daughter who saw a man in the wall. I promised you I would write again. This story involves my daughter, aged about 3. This night, there was only my daughter and I at home. My husband was working away for the evening. It was a night like any other. I checked on my daughter before going to bed. She was sound asleep. I sat in bed reading for a while before I fell asleep. I awoke with my daughter saying, "Mom, can you see her?" Feeling a little dopey and befuddled, "Mom, can you see her?" my daughter said, pointing at the doorway to my bedroom. "No, sweetheart, I don't see anything." Still feeling as if my head was full of cotton wool. "Mom, she's standing right there." Again, I said, "No, I can't see anything." "But Mom, she has long hair, the same as yours. She has a long pink dress on and she's called Danielle." With the mention of her name, all my hairs stood on end. I got a shiver down my spine. My daughter looked at me with these big, wide eyes and said, "You don't see her?" I told her again, "No." I flicked the covers back and she crawled into bed. That night she slept with me. More for my sake than I think hers. I'm a firm believer that children can see things that we cannot. Their minds are wide open. They don't use logic to try to figure something out. To a child, there is no black or white. A stick is a stick. That is not the end of the story, however. Many years later, my daughter and I were talking about the many strange things that have happened in the house. I asked her if she can remember Danielle. She started laughing and said, "Mom, I still see her from time to time. She warns me about things." I looked at her and I said, "Really?" "Yeah, she's a good spirit." Not sure what to make of that. I have to trust her instincts on this. Thank you for listening to my story. Keep working hard on your show. I'll let you go into a secret my daughter told me about your show. Hope you are all keep safe and well. That comes from Pat from the UK. Well, Pat from the UK, thank you, and thank your daughter for sharing your stories and for sharing our show. We do appreciate that. That is cool. I wouldn't say it's anything bad if your daughter was more astonished and in awe than she was in terror, and that she's been seeing the spirit and it's always helped her. I think that's a grand thing. So congratulations, Pat from the UK, and your daughter. We appreciate your stories, and we appreciate hearing from all of you. Remember, you can keep in touch with us by emailing me, dave@darknessradio.com, and submit your personal real-life paranormal experiences. We'd love to hear from you. You can call our Voices from Beyond voicemail at 651-300-4977. That's 651-300-4977. And please remember to go check out our shop. Go to darknessradio.com, click on the store tab there. Go in and get all of your cool paranormal books, paranormal swag, True Crime Tuesday books, all right there. through the Amazon shop. And while you're there, check out our events button as well at darknessradio.com. Keep up with where you can see Tim and I this year at many of the different paranormal conferences around the United States and around the world. I don't know what kind of laugh that was, Tim, but it felt like it needed to come out. So that's it. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. I'm Dave. That's Tim. This is the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. This is Darkness Radio.